right. So malware and viruses, huh?
That's right. A whole bunch of stuff to dig into.
Well, you sent over like tons of research and articles, even some of your own notes. I see you're really ready to get serious about protecting yourself.
Well, yeah,
And honestly, who isn't these days?
it's crazy out there.
Exactly. It really is. Yeah. It changes so fast, it's hard to keep up.
It does. The threats just keep evolving and are getting worse.
That's why we're here. We're going to unpack the scariest parts of the malware world, break it all down as best as we can on how these attacks actually work. And by the end of today's session, you'll be way ahead of the game, at least when it comes to you and your family staying safe online.
Sound like a plan?
Okay, so you can't talk about malware without talking about viruses.
Yeah, definitely.
But before we get into all that, I think we need to clarify something just for anyone who's new to all this. So, malware, that's the big umbrella term. It basically means any software designed to, well, mess with your computer, your smartphone, your data, your life, the whole deal.
Right, it's the broad category.
Exactly. And viruses, they're just one branch of that big, messy, and disturbing family tree.
Yeah, it's like viruses are the ones everyone knows, even if they don't fully understand what they are.
Yeah, like saying Kleenex for all type of tissues.
Exactly.
But obviously, there's a lot more types of malwares out there, and each one has its own unique way of causing trouble.
And each one needs a different approach, too, for prevention, I mean.
Right, right.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's go back to the viruses for a minute. So imagine a tiny little program, so small you can't even see it, and it's sneaking its way onto your computer, attaching itself to a legitimate file. It's like a parasite, right?
Yeah.
So it needs a host to survive.
You mean it's hiding out, lying in wait. Then what?
Then you open that file or run that program and boom, the virus springs to life and it injects its nasty code into your system, replicating, maybe even spreading to other files. And just like a biological virus, it can wreak havoc, slow down your computer, cause it to crash. You could even lose valuable data.
Okay, that's officially creepy. But viruses aren't just about causing chaos, are they?
No, not at all.
They can also be used to steal information, right?
Yeah.
Or even spy on you.
Absolutely. Some viruses are designed specifically to steal things. Passwords, credit card details, photos and text messages. They can even record your keystrokes.
Seriously?
Yeah, they just lurk in the background, silently collecting data, sending it all back to the attacker's command and control servers.
Wow.
And think about how much we do online now. Banking, shopping, even just connecting with friends. All of that is potentially vulnerable.
It's scary stuff, which is why we're tackling it head on, of course. But how do these viruses actually get onto our computers in the first place?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, they need a way in, right?
Right, right.
A common entry point is through email attachments. You know, those "you've won $1 million" messages or those urgent invoice attached emails.
Oh, yeah, those that just scream danger for sure. Delete on site.
Exactly. But sometimes they can be more subtle. A message from a friend, totally harmless looking, could actually contain a malicious attachment.
So you can't always tell. It's not just about avoiding the obvious spam. You need to be thinking critically about every email you receive.
Precisely. And it's not just email attachments either. Viruses can also spread through downloads, infected websites, even USB drives.
Wow, so many ways. I heard that you should never use a USB drive that you find on the street.
It's why it's so important to have good security software and to be mindful of your online behavior. Like you said, to be a music leaner,
Right.
But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll delve deeper into those protection strategies a little later.
Okay, that sounds good.
For now, let's move on to the other types of malwares, because viruses, as bad as they are, they're just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, so viruses are like the gateway drug to the world of malware. They get you hooked, and then bam, you're dealing with ransomware, spyware, and all sorts of other digital nasties.
Well, that's one way to put it.
Is it accurate?
Yeah, you're not wrong. There's a whole ecosystem of malicious software out there, each one with its own unique way of causing problems.
Okay.
And the more you understand about them, the better equipped you'll be to protect yourself.
All right, well, let's meet the rest of the family then.
Okay, starting with perhaps the most notorious of them all, the worm.
I hate worms, physical or digital.
Unlike a virus that needs that host file to latch onto, a worm is an independent operator. It can self-replicate and spread across networks with terrifying speed.
Hold on. Self-replicate? That sounds like something we would see in a movie.
It does, doesn't it? But unfortunately, it's all too real. Worms exploit vulnerabilities in operating systems or software to gain access to a network. And once they're in, they can spread like wildfire, infecting computers, servers, even entire networks.
So basically, a worm is like a virus on steroids.
In a way, yeah, same malicious intent, but with a much wider blast radius. And the consequences can be devastating. Remember the WannaCry ransomware attack back in 2017?
Oh yeah, it was all over the news.
It spread rapidly through networks around the world, encrypting files and demanding ransom payments. It crippled hospitals, businesses, even government agencies.
That's a good example of why this stuff matters. Not just for, techies, but for everyone. Okay, so we've got viruses and worms. What else is lurking in the malware shadows?
Well, let's talk about the master of disguise, the Trojan horse.
Ugh, classic trickery. So how does this one work?
Okay, think of it like this. A Trojan horse disguises itself as something harmless, even desirable, like a game, or a useful utility, maybe even a cracked version of expensive software. People are tricked into downloading and installing it, thinking they're getting something for free or something that will improve their computer.
But little do they know.
Exactly. Once that Trojan horse is inside your system, it drops its disguise and unleashes its payload. That could be anything from stealing your passwords to opening a back door for other malware to enter your system. Sometimes it even turns your computer into a zombie botnet, controlled remotely by the attacker.
Wait, zombie botnet? That sounds terrifying.
It is. A botnet is a network of infected computers that can be used to launch coordinated attacks, send spam emails, even carry out distributed denial of service attacks.
Distributed denial of service? What does that even mean?
It's basically an attempt to overwhelm a website or online service with traffic, making it inaccessible to legitimate users, like flooding a store with so many people that no one can get in to shop. And a botnet with its army of infected computers is a very effective tool for carrying out these kinds of attacks.
Okay, I'm officially freaked out now. And it's not like these things are going away, right?
Unfortunately, no. In fact, cyber criminals are getting more sophisticated all the time. They're constantly coming up with new ways to trick us, new malware variants, new ways to exploit vulnerabilities.
So it's a never-ending battle.
Pretty much. But knowledge is our best weapon. The more we understand about these threats, the better prepared we'll be to defend ourselves. It is why we continue to make these podcasts.
Well, in that case, let's keep going. What other malware villains should we be aware of?
All right, one that's been making headlines a lot lately is ransomware. This one's all about financial gain, pure and simple, ransomware.
It sounds scary, but what exactly does it do?
Imagine waking up one morning and all your files are encrypted and locked. Your photos, documents, everything. You can't access anything. And then you get a message demanding payment, usually in cryptocurrency, to unlock your data.
So it's like digital kidnapping.
It is. And the worst part is, even if you pay the ransom, there's no guarantee you'll get your files back or that they won't attack you again.
So you're potentially losing your data and your money. That's a double whammy.
Exactly. And the costs can be enormous, both for individuals and businesses. Remember, not pet ya,
Not pet you. Yeah, I don't know if I do.
caused billions of dollars in damages worldwide, disrupted shipping companies, logistics firms, even pharmaceutical giants.
Man, these guys are playing for keeps. Okay, I'm getting the sense that this whole malware thing is like a hydra. You cut off one head and two more grow back.
It can feel that way sometimes, but don't despair. There are ways to protect yourself. We'll get to those soon.
Okay, good.
But first, we've got a few more malware characters to introduce you to.
Bring them on. I'm ready to face my fears.
All right, let's talk about spyware. As the name suggests, this one's all about spying. It operates in stealth mode, collecting information about your online activities without you even realizing it.
So it's like Big Brother, but instead of a government agency, is it some shady hacker in their parents' basement?
Pretty much, spyware can track your browsing history, record your keystrokes, see and steal your passwords, and even monitor your webcam and microphone.
Okay, now I'm really creeped out. Is there anything they can't do?
Well, thankfully, there are ways to detect and remove spyware, but it's a constant cat and mouse game. Cybercriminals are always coming up with new ways to bypass security measures and stay hidden. Some people will turn off their computer's camera and microphone when it isn't in use.
So how do we even know if we're infected?
Sometimes there are telltale signs like your computer running slower than usual, unexpected pop-ups, or strange changes to your browser settings. But often, spyware is designed to be completely invisible.
That's unsettling. It's like having a ghost in your machine.
Speaking of ghosts, let's talk about rootkits.
Rootkits, what are those?
These are particularly nasty pieces of malware because they embed themselves deep within your operating system, essentially giving the attacker administrative control over your computer.
So it's like giving them the master key to your house.
Exactly. And the worst part is they're designed to stay hidden, making them incredibly difficult to detect and remove.
It's like a digital parasite that burrows into the very core of your system. Okay, that's officially the stuff of nightmares.
Don't worry, we're almost through the rogues gallery here.
My goodness, what else is there?
Well, there are keyloggers, which, as you might guess, record every keystroke you make.
So they can capture passwords, credit card numbers, everything.
Exactly. They're often used in targeted attacks to steal sensitive information.
Okay, I'm exhausted. I think I've had enough malware for one day. Can we talk about how to protect ourselves now?
Absolutely. That's the whole point of this podcast, right? To equip you with the knowledge and tools you need to stay safe online.
So what's the first line of defense?
Well, the most obvious one is antivirus software. It's essential for detecting and blocking known malware threats, but it's not an antidote for all malwares.
What do you mean?
Antivirus software relies on databases of known malware signatures. It's like having a wanted poster for each type of malware
So if there's a new unknown threat,
out there, then your antivirus might not be able to catch it. They call them zero-day threats. That's why it's so important to keep your antivirus software updated. New malware variants are emerging all the time, and those updates help your antivirus stay ahead of the curve.
makes sense. So updates are key. What else can we do?
Well, along the same lines, keep your operating system and all your software up to date as well. Those updates often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities that malware can exploit.
So it's like patching up the holes in your digital defenses.
Exactly. It's basic cyber hygiene, just like washing your hands to prevent the spread of germs.
Okay, so antivirus updates, basic hygiene, got it. But what about those sneaky malware types that antivirus might miss?
That's where things like firewalls and intrusion detection systems come in. They can help monitor network traffic for suspicious activity and block potential threats before they even reach your computer.
So it's like having a security guard at the gate checking everyone's ID.
Pretty much. And they're getting more sophisticated all the time, using artificial intelligence and machine learning to identify and block even the most subtle attacks.
That's reassuring. So we've got layers of protection, like an onion. What else can we do to peel back those layers and keep ourselves safe?
Well, one of the most effective things you can do is simply be aware, be mindful of your online behavior. Think before you click. And don't be afraid to question anything that seems suspicious.
So it's not just about technology, it's about being smart and vigilant online.
Exactly. Cybersecurity is as much about human behavior as it is about technical defenses. Let's talk about passwords for a minute.
Passwords. Everyone's least favorite topic.
I know, but they're crucial. Using strong, unique passwords for all your online accounts is one of the simplest, yet most effective things you can do to protect yourself.
Easy for you to say. I can barely remember what I have for breakfast, let alone a dozen different passwords.
I hear you. That's where a password manager can be a lifesaver. It generates and stores strong passwords for you, so you only need to remember one master password.
Oh, that sounds helpful. We have mentioned Password Manager in our other podcast. What else should we be doing?
Be wary of phishing attempts. Those are emails or messages that try to trick you into giving up sensitive information, like your passwords or credit card details.
Oh, yeah, those. Your account has been compromised. Emails that send you to a fake website.
Exactly. Don't click on any links or open any attachments. In suspicious emails, always verify the sender's address and be cautious about any requests for personal information. Go directly to your bank or other institution website instead of clicking on the links in the suspicious emails.
So think before you click. Got it. What else is on the cyber safety checklist?
Regular backups. This is crucial, especially in light of ransomware threats. If you have a recent backup of your important files, then even if you do get hit by ransomware, you won't lose everything.
Like an insurance policy for your data.
Exactly. Back up your files to an external hard drive and/or a cloud service. It's a small investment for peace of mind.
So we've got strong passwords, phishing awareness, regular backups. Anything else?
One more thing, be cautious about using public Wi-Fi networks. They can be a hotbed for hackers and malware.
I always use public Wi-Fi at coffee shops and airports.
I know it's tempting, but if you do use public Wi-Fi, make sure you're using a trusted virtual private network, a VPN.
A VPN? Explain that for our listeners.
A VPN creates a secure encrypted connection between your device and the internet, protecting your data from prying eyes and man-in-the-middle attackers.
So it's like a tunnel that shields your information as it travels across the internet.
That's a great way to think about it. A VPN can make a big difference in protecting your privacy and security on public Wi-Fi.
Okay, this is a lot to take in. Antivirus updates, firewalls, strong passwords, phishing awareness, backups, VPNs. It feels like a full-time job just staying safe online.
I know it can be overwhelming, but remember, the threat landscape is always expanding, so we must protect all points of entry to keep ourselves safe. Always start with the basics, building good habits, and gradually layering on more protection as needed.
You're right. It's about progress, not perfection. So where do we go from here?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, but there's always more to learn. The threat landscape is constantly evolving, and new malware emerges all the time.
So we need to stay informed and adapt.
Exactly. Read security blogs, listen to podcasts, stay up to date on the latest threats and vulnerabilities.
Okay?
It's about being proactive, not reactive. Think of it like this. You wouldn't just eat anything you found on the street, right? You'd check the ingredients, the expiration date, maybe even give it a sniff test. It's the same with the digital world. We need to be discerning consumers of information, cautious about what we click on, download, and install. It's all about developing a security-conscious mindset.
So it's not just about the tools and technology, but about our own behavior and habits too?
Absolutely. You could have the best security software in the world, but if you're clicking on every phishing link you get, you're still vulnerable.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually develop that mindset? It sounds kind of, I don't know, abstract.
It's about being aware of the risks, for sure. Understanding how these cyber criminals operate and taking steps to minimize your exposure. It's also about staying informed. Things change so fast, new threats all the time, so you got to keep up with the latest trends and vulnerabilities.
So reading security blogs, listening to podcasts like this one.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you see something suspicious or you don't understand something, reach out to someone who might know.
Right, right. Okay, so awareness, education, vigilance, that's starting to make sense. But let's be real, not everyone's going to become a cybersecurity expert.
Of course not, but everyone can take basic steps to protect themselves. Think of it like wearing a seatbelt in a car. You don't need to be a mechanic to understand the importance of buckling up.
Right, those simple everyday actions that can make a big difference.
Exactly. And just like with physical safety, there's no such thing as being 100% secure. But by taking precautions, being aware of the risks, we can significantly reduce our chances of becoming a victim.
So it's about managing risks, not eliminating it entirely.
Precisely. And that's where a layered approach to security comes in. We talked about antivirus, firewalls, strong passwords, all that. Each layer adds another level of protection, making it harder for attackers to succeed.
Like having multiple locks on your door.
Exactly. You need to stay vigilant, adapt to new threats, and continually reassess your security posture.
So, like brushing your teeth, you got to do it every day if you want to stay healthy to avoid that root canal.
That's a great analogy. The cybersecurity is about building good habits, just like anything else.
Okay, I'm feeling more empowered already.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, one final question for you. With all these different types of malware out there and new ones popping up all the time, what's the most important thing people can do to stay safe online? What's the one piece of advice you'd give to everyone listening?
That's a great question. If I had to boil it down to one thing, I would say it's this. Be skeptical. Don't trust everything you see online. Verify information, question sources, and be wary of anything that seems too good to be true. Cyber criminals are masters of deception. They are experienced con men. They prey on our trust or curiosity, even our desire for convenience. So stay informed, be vigilant, and always, always think before you click.
Be skeptical. Stay informed. Think. Think before you click. Words to live by in the digital age.
I agree. And remember, cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. We all need to do our part to protect ourselves and each other. If you see something suspicious, report it. Share information about scams and threats with your friends, family, and at Report Fraud FTC GVO.
Spread the knowledge. Protect the tribe.
Exactly. We're all in this together.
Well, this has been an incredible dive into the world of malware and cybersecurity. We've explored the dark side of the digital landscape, that's for sure, but we've also learned how to navigate it safely and confidently. I'm feeling much more prepared to face the challenges ahead.
That's great to hear. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about the threats, the better equipped you'll be to defend yourself.
Thanks for guiding us through this journey. I think we've all learned a lot today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, stay safe out there. Remember to be skeptical, stay informed, and think before you click. Until next time, happy surfing.